Good day everyone. I always love playing with a bit of different teams, especially teams that are slightly outside of the usual meta. So using Klee with Kokomi is not something that you'll see very often, but what you'll notice here in the background is that with the combination of Kokomi's jellyfish and the swirling from Xianyun, we basically always have a Hydro Aura on the enemy, and this means that Klee can do very heavy vaporized plunges, which is just so much fun. So I think we hit max about 79k, and this will go up all the way to about I think 120k once we get to the final floor. By the way, for these two enemies you can always just push against them, so this is one thing that a lot of people haven't really talked about, but you can push enemies closer together if you think they're slightly further apart, and that is one of the techniques that I do utilize. Something as simple as wasting 2 or 3 seconds to push them together gives you more DPS than trying to beat them up individually, but that is just the sort of little tiny things that you don't always get from many typical theory crafting guides, because people only want to show you results rather than talk about the nuances. So speaking of nuances, if you rewatch the clip that I just showed, one of the things that you'll notice is that I use Kokomi's elemental burst very early on, and the reason for this is to use her elemental burst to, well, get vaporized damage of 15k, just a little small bit that you get in, but basically to clear the auras on the enemies, and that allows me to consistently swirl the Hydro Aura and make sure that Klee can always vaporize with her plunge attack. So there's often this weird misconception that the more Hydro you apply in the game, the better your character is, which is something that a lot of people will use to prop up someone like Xingshu. But one of the things people forget is that how you apply the elements really makes a difference as well. So here I can decide with Klee, do I want to do short plunges, do I want to do longer plunges, do I want to hit the enemies in an AoE. I'm not locked in terms of my playstyle through having to use a normal attack in order to get my Hydro off. Yes, there are certain other compromises you're making by using someone like Kokomi, but there are other benefits that you also get, and in this case, I mean, the obvious one is that Kokomi has Thrilling Tales and the Tenacity set, so that counts for quite a lot of Klee's damage, as well as being able to enable Klee to consistently vaporize with the help of Xianyun, which starts the rotation by shredding the opponent's pyro resistance. So these characters, all of these support characters, start working together, and it's the flexibility of how they can do their thing that makes it really fun to play with the characters in the different teams. So yeah, that is what I wanted to showcase to you guys today, just a bit of a different way, or a couple of different combinations of characters that you can use together. A lot of people are using Xianyun and Farina, or they're using Bennett and Xianyun with the Luke, or some sort of variation on it, and I haven't seen a YouTube video showing this, but using Kokomi and being able to get consistent swirls, that is something that I find to be just fun. It's just a different way of playing, and I'm pretty sure if you do longer plunge attacks with the look, so instead of animation cancelling, you just let the full plunge animation play out, you can also use Kokomi with a Deluxe setup. Not that I would know, since I've never even bothered to build my Deluxe, but it is something that I think could be useful, although in the second half of this current abyss, you probably might want to run into you'll probably run into energy issues, in which case the best would be perhaps just to then default back to someone like Farina. That's, by the way, what I would recommend as well. If you want to copy what I'm doing, use it on the first halves, because on the second halves, what Klee wants is a bit of field time to beat up the enemies, so you're not going to have the luxury with these enemies that just constantly go underground or fly away and so on. Plus, this team that you can see in the background doesn't have a bow user, so there's definitely going to be a bit of RNG to get the little flying dinosaur to come down. So it's definitely more of a first half team in this abyss. Regardless, this was quite fun for me. This was just a bit of a different way of playing. With the content drought that we have in Genshin and the Lantern Rite really having very lackluster mini games, there's not much what we can do, so I think just playing around and experimenting is the only thing that we've got left, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it in this video. Alright, that's it from my side. Have a good day and keep well. Cheers.